All right, let's talk about project integration management. Now, I know, that sounds super corporate and maybe a little dry, right? But stick with me, because this is actually the secret sauce, the art that separates a project that truly succeeds from one that just makes a lot of noise.
So, to really get this, let me tell you about a guy named Nick Carson. He was a brilliant tech guy, a manager who never missed a deadline. The thing is, his project completely tanked. And you gotta ask, why? Well, it's because he totally ignored what integration is all about. He was an amazing soloist, sure, but a terrible conductor.
And that story perfectly sets up the main idea for today. I want you to picture this. Every single project you work on, it's like an orchestra. You've got all these different sections, all these amazing, talented specialists. But what happens if you take the conductor away?
Yeah, total chaos, right? Imagine the violins are off in their own world, the drums are doing their own thing, the trumpets are practicing a completely different piece. It's just noise. That is a project with no integration. So, what's the fix? Well, you bring in the conductor, and that's exactly what project integration management is. And here's the official take on it. See, the point isn't for the project manager to play every instrument. No way. Their job is to coordinate everything, the people, the tasks, the resources, so it all comes together in harmony.
Okay, so think about it. Before a conductor even thinks about picking up their baton, what's the one thing they absolutely need? A score, right? The sheet music, the one plan that everyone agrees to play from. And in our world, that's the planning phase.
And this is so important to get. Integration isn't something you just sprinkle on later when things get messy. It starts from day one, during initiation and planning. You have to write the music before the orchestra can play it. Simple as that.
And that very first page of sheet music, that's what we call the project charter. You can think of it as the official concert announcement. It's the document that says, yep, this project is real, and here's the person in charge with the authority to get it done.
And this charter does some real heavy lifting. It's way more than just a name. It lays out the whole shebang. Who's footing the bill? That's the sponsor. Who's leading the team? Who's doing what? And the big one, what are we even trying to achieve? That final sign-off is basically the whole orchestra agreeing, okay, we're all playing from this same sheet of music.
But is it the right music? That's the next huge question. And that's where strategic alignment comes in. You have to ask, does this project actually help the whole company get where it wants to go? And you don't just guess. You use real tools like a SWOT analysis, and you look at the hard numbers, things like return on investment, to make sure this concert is actually worth putting on.
All right, music's written, orchestra is ready. It's time for the conductor to take the stage. We're now moving into the execution phase of the project.
And here's the thing to remember. The conductor isn't up there trying to play the violin, right? Their job is to listen, to feel the rhythm, to guide, to bring all the separate parts together into one cohesive sound. It's the exact same for a project manager. You're not there to do everyone's job. You are there to make sure everyone's job fits together perfectly.
And that means you are constantly juggling. You're leading the team, of course, but you're also watching the data, heading off risks before they blow up, and this is huge, making sure everyone is talking to each other, from your main stakeholders all the way down to your suppliers.
But let's be real for a second. No performance is ever perfect, and no project is either. Somebody's going to hit a wrong note. So what do you do then?
Well, a great conductor doesn't just slam their baton down and stop the whole show, right? Nah, they don't panic. They just guide everyone back on track, super smoothly without missing a beat. In project management, we call that magic trick change control.
And yep, there's a formal process for this. And let's be clear, integrated change control is not about saying no to everything. It's about having a smart, structured way to look at change requests and understand how they're going to affect the whole show. The schedule, the budget, everything.
And the difference here is like night and day. Without it, you get chaos. You get that dreaded scope creep where the project just balloons out of control and your budget is, well, it's gone. With it, you get order, you get control, you get realistic timelines. It's the difference between a train wreck and a graceful save.
There are some really solid frameworks to help with this too. Like, you might have heard of DMake from Six Sigma. It's just a simple logical process. Define the problem, measure it, analyze what's causing it, improve it, and then control it so it stays fixed. It's all about making changes based on data, not just a shot in the dark.
Okay, so the final chord fades out. The audience is applauding, the project's done. But wait, the conductor's work isn't over just yet.
It's time to take a bow, and just as importantly, to learn from the performance.
Because finishing a project is so much more than just handing over the final product. It's your single best opportunity to learn. What went right? I mean, what really worked well? And where did we stumble a bit? Thinking about that stuff is what makes the next project even better.
And you don't just hope you remember it all. You write it down in something called a lessons learned register. These are literally the conductor's notes scribbled on the sheet music for next time. This is how a team and a whole organization gets better over time.
And we're not talking about fuzzy feelings here. We're talking about specific, actionable stuff. Like, wow, that kickoff meeting was a game changer for getting everyone aligned. Or, oof, we totally lowballed the budget for outsourcing. Can't make that mistake again. That kind of insight is pure gold.
And this process really, really matters. The data shows that 39% of top-performing organizations are really good at this stuff, at actually realizing the benefits from their projects. But for the low performers, that number drops all the way to 9%. That's a massive gap in success, and it's all built on learning from the past.
So to strip it all away, what are we left with? Project integration management. It's not a checklist in a textbook. It's a mindset. It's a philosophy. It's what separates someone who just manages tasks from a real leader who creates something amazing. It's the difference between making noise and making music.
So I'll leave you with this question to chew on. When it comes to your own work, in your own role, are you just focused on your own part, just playing your instrument? Or are you looking up, seeing the whole picture, and helping to conduct the orchestra?